Greetings, I'm Barrett, and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of S.H.E.O.L. I did a Kickstarter preview of this in the past, and this is the final version that has reached us. This is not my copy. I would like to thank Colin at the One Stop Co-op Shop for giving me a chance to unbox this for everybody. Thank you so much, Colin. S.H.E.O.L is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi game where we have been shrouded in eternal night. These alien creatures, or race, I guess you could say, has come from the backside of the moon and has now seeped their darkness out onto the earth. We're going to be going through different missions in order to try to hold back this darkness and combat what is coming towards us. In order to be able to do that, we have to work together as up to a solo or four-player game in order to get through all the missions and complete objectives. And of course, we do have to defend the Citadel from this invasion as well. This is going to be super fun and super cool. I'm excited to show you what this is. If you're looking for a playthrough at the very moment of this, I did that Kickstarter preview. Again, a lot may have changed as the production went forward in this game, but there is that playthrough out there. Now, of course, there will be a playthrough coming out eventually for this game, hopefully in the very near future. Now, if you're excited to see what is in the box for S.H.E.O.L, then I need you to meet me at the table. And don't forget, I got a playmat to show you too. Here's the playmat for S.H.E.O.L. It is double-sided. This is most of the time used for the missions that have to do with going out and completing objectives of that nature. And your main base is going to be here in the middle. The backside is used more, I believe, for some of the bigger encounters where you're going to have your base way up here, and then of course you have to defend as the monsters coming on in from all different angles. This is super cool. Look, I even have like a neat moon surface here, and this looks really cool. I'm really excited for this. And the nice thing is they even have the numbers and letters to be able to help you be able to place the different objectives down a little bit easier than having to just count based on certain areas of the map. Let's see what's in the core box of this game now. We'll look inside the core box. I do have all the expansions as well, and each of those add on more scenarios to the existing game. Here's our rule book. It's, I think, about 50 pages long or so. I'm guessing it's 53 to 55 pages, somewhere in there, and it looks pretty detailed. It has some nice pictures. It's going to show us everything that we need to know in order to play the game. I'm going to take a read through this, and we'll try to get a playthrough as soon as we can. Or else Colin over at the One Stop Co-op Shop will be doing a playthrough, or we might be doing a playthrough. Each of us might be doing a playthrough. We're both pretty excited for this game. So we'll set this aside and continue on. The next thing we have is, it looks like, our mission manual. It is in shrink wrap, so I'll have to open this up. This is about 165 pages. I don't want to show too much of this because I don't want to spoil the thing as we go forward. This is the story of S.H.E.O.L, though. It does have a main campaign. It looks like there's going to be, well, just add them up here. 13 missions, it looks like. And these are going to be extra missions that I believe come either in the campaign or they might be part of this after you complete through the first mission. Also, there's different scout missions too. So each of the scouts that you use, which are going to be your player characters, have their own mission, and if they complete their missions, they gain a little bit of an extra upgrade, which is really cool. I think that's a neat system that they have inside this. So here's the main campaign, part 1, 2, and 3. And then these, I believe, are going to be your extra ones that are going to be the stretch goals and the expansions. And I do have those. We'll look at those very soon. We do have a prologue that kind of explains how this all transpired, about how the darkness has kind of come from the backside of the moon and is now leaked onto the planet. And we weren't able to fight it off fast enough, but now we have all these neat new teammates. The scouts is what they call them. And we're going to be able to use these to traverse the dark lands in order to find our objectives and be able to help our civilization grow. We have tools for survival. We have, here's the different factions, and these are going to help us in the game based on which factions and things we decide to upgrade. We're going to be gaining different upgrades for our characters, I believe is how it works. We have ordinary maintenance, and of course we're going to be going into the main campaign, which is the first part. And then it'll show us, here's just the first mission. I'm not going to show any more than this. This is the first one you're going to play. It shows you how you're going to set things up, what shadows you're going to be going against, and then you have these complete story that has to do with it. And then you choose the scouts, you go out onto these missions, and you try to fight off the darkness while you're still, or darkness, they're called shadows as well, and while you're trying to complete the objectives so you can continue forward. And once you do, you're going to be able to upgrade your Citadel. That's going to be able to grow and expand. It's super cool. Now, I'm not going to show any more than this, but that's just what you see in the first mission of the manual. Then we have all of our little punch boards and other materials here. Let's see what's inside. The first thing we have is 4 Lux boards is what they're called. These are going to have your base stats for your characters. They're going to show you how many actions they can take, what their speed value is, and how much Lux they have. Lux is the life force of the character, and it's also the way they're going to traverse the board, laying down different light tiles, and I'll show you those in just a second. There's also a backside, because if you're actually out of Lux, you're going to become corrupted, and certain things might become better for you, certain things will become worse for you. I'll tell you right now, if your Lux goes to 0 after you're corrupted, that's really bad, because then you're dead, and you don't want to be dead in this game. But there are 4 of them, because you are going to play with 4 characters. But if you are playing solo, or if you don't want to control all 4 characters, they do have what is called a Servoids board. And this is going to be instead of having 4 characters, you'll have these extra like AI, not AI components, but a more basic version of characters. Instead of having all the cards and all the different tokens you're going to be using for characters, you just use these in place of them. So that means it makes the game a little bit more manageable for those that are playing solo. The first set of tokens here we do have standees. You can either use miniatures or standees. We have some other tokens here. These are like Lux vials. You can have more than 8. If you looked at the Lux board, it had 8, but over here you can put the number of how many vials you have, so you can actually start gaining more and go over the max limit. And those Lux vials are going to be used for your health, but it's also, like I said, going to lay down these light tiles, and these are all the different light tiles you can lay down, and they become also dimmed light as well if certain shadows move over them, or if some other game effect makes you have to turn over that one. But you can see there's all different types, and it's going to determine how your path is laid out on the board that you're going to be moving around on. Also down here, we have one of our enemies that come in these neat, strong, sturdy boards, and they are double-sided, so they're going to be used 2 different ways. I'm guessing we'll see how it all transpires. I think they've done a very good job on their production so far. Let's continue on with some of the other tokens. Next, we have a bunch of tokens. These are going to be the blips out on the board, and as you get near them or they are revealed, you're going to turn this over and figure out which one you're actually dealing with, which shadow. These are singularity tokens. These are going to be collarbone tokens. Maybe they might be a resource of some kind. These just are going to be used to designate different things that we're going to be, like if you need to place one down to signify you have been in that place or that character's done something in that regard is my guess. We also have some Umbra tokens. These I believe are a currency for the game. Then down here we have different tokens. These are going to be used when we move into the, I shouldn't say settlement phase, but it's when we go to actually upgrade our citadel. We're going to be using these tokens to be used in that situation. We have more singularities down here. And up on top, these are going to be used for our servoids. They're going to be tokens that those servoids are going to use to help represent what they're up to. Next, we have a punch board full of enemies here. Some of them are hunters, or I shouldn't say hunters, sorry. Some of them are shadows. Some of them are heralds. Some of them are outer lords. I'm not sure which ones are which. We'll have to see as we play through the game. Though these guys look bonkers good. I'm sure they're the real big bad. I mean, look at this. They're carrying a whole city on its back. I'm sure this is one of the huge bad outer lords is my guess. And of course, we'll have to stop them from coming into our citadel and destroying it. We don't want that. Then we have some of these tokens that are going to be used for the objectives. We have for example here, knowledge runes. If you can land onto this space, you're able to perform your objective and complete it. It has them on the back as well. So there's 2 different sides to each one of these tokens. Again, more if you want to use standees instead of the miniatures, we have those available to us. Continuing on, again, more standees and more objectives that we're going to be able to put out on the board. Then we have a few other tokens here. We have drill tokens. We have some cannon tokens here. These in scout towers and things of that nature. They're probably used for defense, or else they're going to be used on the board when you have to put one in here to potentially complete that objective. You'll have to use that type of token or that type of ability, and to prove it, they've got the token for it. Next, we have Rift tokens, Lux Trench tokens, and we also have these dark tokens as well. And then this is going to be the shadow board. That's going to show you the type of shadows you're working with. This is a shadow. So this one I know is a shadow. I actually remember it from my playthrough. They're the most basic enemies that you're going to be having to deal with. It only has like 1 health, so it's not too tough to deal with. And it's probably going to show you its movement style and how it's going to be able to attack you and things of that nature, all found on these cards. And then this is the shadow board that is going to be affecting how you're playing through the game. And on the back, it does give you, when you're done with your objective missions, you move to the Citadel phase, you're going to have to be able to use this side to help you figure out how you're going to spend some of your resources to upgrade and build your Citadel. Continuing on, we do have more enemies. There are a vast number of enemies, which is really cool. Here's 2 more of the shadows that are going to be moving with those blips. These are just going to be shadow number tokens you'll use as you're playing through the game. And I believe these are going to be some of the upgrade stuff you get for your civilization, or maybe this is something you're going to be bringing with you on a mission. And finally, we have the Citadel sheet here. Look at this thing. This thing's awesome. It's a huge, giant thing. It has many different things on it, but the main thing is as you're going through, so you're going to add these upgrades to it, and the Citadel is going to build and expand. Now, of course, if the Citadel ever dies, that's pretty much the end. You don't win if you don't have a Citadel. And as you can see here, it slowly builds. And I believe there's a miniature that we'll be able to see that actually does that as well. Here's the board. I'm not going to show it. It's the exact same thing we just saw. And here we are. We have our miniatures in here, and we have some of our bags. Let's take a look at what we have to offer. We have all our tokens as well, or I shouldn't say tokens, but these cubes. These cubes are going to go into those Lux boards that we saw just a little while ago. These I believe are for the shadows or for other things as well. We have some custom dice that we're going to be rolling for different things to see if we're able to take down the shadows or if the shadows take us down, and what exactly our characters are going to be able to do or avoid. We'll see how those dice are actually looking. These dice look actually pretty awesome. There's not a single one that's really, there's no side that's really like a normal side. That's pretty awesome. So again, we'll see how all those play out. There are 2 different bags. Each of these bags are used for different parts of the game. The one that's white is going to be used for the light tokens. All those tokens you saw that were square that had the little light patterns on them, you put them in here. You're never going to know exactly which ones you're going to be pulling out and which way you're going to be able to go because you keep pulling those out. Then the other ones are going to be those blips, those little blips that I showed you. That we're going to be pulling those out as well and putting them down on the board from this bag. So those are what the 2 bags are used for. We have stands for the standees, and these are going to be, what are these? These are just black they're black tokens. Therefore, I'm guessing maybe the monsters or something at some point. We'll see how that all plays out. Then we do have the purple cubes, not sure what they're for, but the purple, can't go wrong. And if you're not sure, or if you want to put these on, they have the rings for your figures if you want to use them. But here's the miniatures for the figures. We'll go through who each of these people are as we play through the game. I think this is the Guardian. I think if I remember from my playthrough, he was pretty awesome. I think I used this guy. This guy was pretty sweet. Then we have like a sniper character. Again, sorry, I don't know the names of all these guys right off the top of my head. But this one I know can be like, it can cloak and it can shoot pretty far. This is like your super gun guy. This guy's awesome too, if I remember right. He's really sweet. Now, of course, each of these have their own advantage and disadvantage. For example, he might be really good at attacking, but he might not be very good at building out the pathways to go. So we might want to team up with somebody like this, like the Scout. The Scout, I think, can move really fast through the light corridor and be able to build things really well. And I know he's actually one of the best at building, if I remember, building light paths for people to go on. But those are some of the miniatures. Then we have all these card decks down here, and they're each going to be used for different things. And each character has their own deck of cards, which is a really cool system. So we'll kind of go through some of these and see what we have. Now, of course, I don't want to show up too much. These mission cards I'm probably not going to show, but I can show a lot of what the characters are and some of maybe the abilities and even some of the stuff we get for our Citadels, maybe a quick peek at some of those. But there are, oh my gosh, there's a lot of cards. Now, sadly, I'm looking at this. I don't know if it's going to be there. I don't think you're going to be able to sleeve these and stick them back in. I don't think it is going to fit, which is a sad, sad state of affairs. But, you know, that's okay. Sometimes you just have to go with what you got, and maybe somebody will be able to build something that fits all this stuff back in. The first deck of cards are these bigger cards. They're more like tarot-sized cards. They're going to have your, the rules reference cards, which is really good about action overviews. We also have some things in how you go through each of the phases. We have a scout phase, and the other phase you're going to be doing is a shadow phase. And interestingly enough, the shadow phase comes before the scout phase, so it is almost like it's kind of like a game where you might be potentially catching up to what they're doing to you. Then we have what the servoids do, and based on the player counts, what abilities and things they're going to have. And on the back side, it tells you a little bit how they're going to be working. Now, these, of course, are our player aids. We'll be able to put those aside. Then we have each of our characters. For example, here's the Pioneer. It shows you all the things you're going to need. It shows you your base stats that you're going to put up there and the actions you can get. Also, how many spaces you can move, what type of light sources you're going to be able to put down, and things of that nature. Take a light stream tile from the pool and place it using your lantern pattern, which I'll show you in a second. Everybody gets their own lantern pattern. Of course, like I said, there's a corrupted side as well, which will adjust some of the stats of your characters, and some might become better, some might become worse. But this is the Pioneer. Then we have the Maynard. We also have the Cyclops. This is the guy that has a big, huge, giant gun. He's pretty sweet. Here's the Breathless. This is going to be the assassin type character, I should say sniper. And this right here denotes the type of cards they're probably going to be putting into their deck based on what they have here. These are the type of roles they have. So this one has more of is a stealth type character and also a sniper type character. And the difficulty level for each of these does go up. The Pioneer is pretty easy, so is this one, and this one, I think this one's more of a medium, and these guys are more expert type characters. So if you're playing with somebody for the first time, you might want to let them play this one, while if you've played a lot, you might want to go with that one to give it a little more of a challenge to you. The next thing we have are, these are a bunch of different locations. Remember those tiles I showed you, the 4x4 tiles that maybe had like Fort Cloud? If you get there and you are able to take advantage of it, you're going to not only take this card, you'll read a little bit about what it is, but on the back side, it's going to show you what kind of resources and things you're going to be able to gain from it. Now, I don't want to show too much of these because I again, don't want to ruin anything, but there's 3 different kinds of these type of cards. There's ones that appear more in the, that are easier to find, some that are harder to find, some that are even like abandoned type areas, and we'll put those aside. And next we have these. These are going to be, now when you go to those locations as well, you can choose to discover even more, and you're going to grab a card that may be associated with it, and you're able to make a choice based on what has happened in the text above. And then on the flip side, you may have to resolve a situation that you've decided to do. And there's one, I believe, for each one of those lands. There may even be more. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see again how this all plays out. But those are the first set of cards, these more bigger tarot type cards. Next, we have a deck of cards that is going to show our weapons and potential lanterns that we have. For example, here's just a more basic flash gun. It fires out in a two square radius straight in front of you, and it costs 1 lux to be able to fire it. So again, like you're using them to fire, using them to lay down tokens to allow you to move around the board, and of course it's your health as well. So it's a really cool system that's going to move moving up and down based on how you're able to perform. And you want to shoot them because you might want to save it, or you might want to not use it to move. You might need it because you're going to get attacked. Here we got like a light spear. Again, it's a melee weapon, which means it's only going to go 1 square. Then we got like the impulse cannon. Here's that beam rifle that the sniper type person has. So notice that one's pattern. It doesn't even fire. You're not able to hit person right in front of you, only 2 squares away. We have a relic staff. We have the syringe rifle, the submachine gun, flash gun, and a coral javelin. Then we have a burst bazooka. This thing's out of control. That's pretty amazing. Proximity generator. These, I believe, are going to be, now we're moving into some of the what do you call them? The flashlights, or the way you're going to be placing tiles now. As you can see right up here, this, I believe, is the pattern it's going to be put down. These might still be weapons. These are still weapons. These are still weapons. Okay, flash gun. So maybe this one not only attacks, it might attack all these people in that area because it's a flash shotgun. It makes total sense. And I believe you can upgrade them to even do more, or pay more lux to be able to do a more powerful attack. So the more lux you pour into it, the more you're going to be doing. So yeah, these are all weapons. Wow, that's pretty awesome. There's a ton of them. An absolute ton of weapons that you're going to get throughout the game. That's pretty sweet. Now I believe these are going to be our lanterns. And this again now will show us the type of pattern that you're going to be placing your light sources out. And of course, it depends on what tiles you put down. You can create your own path through here. So this one does a path up and to the one to the left, one to the right, and up straight ahead. That's how it's going to be placing out its tiles to be able to move around. Where this person is only going to be able to, with a hand torch, see those squares right around them. And this one goes just only 2 straight forward. So as I said, this is, I believe, the Guardians. The Guardian has quite a good set of building tools, where this Scout doesn't. It only has the one where it can kind of put them around itself. Then we have the gun torch, which I believe is for that big giant railgun guy, where you can only go straight ahead. And this is the flare launcher, I believe, is for the sniper, and so she can only put them out there. So she might need somebody else to help her keep continuing to move. Half lighter, and these are some of those more expert type characters. But you can expand these, and as you develop your civilization, you're going to be able to expand the actual torches you're able to get, and how much lux they're able to produce in order to put down the types of tiles. There's 2 different sets of lux requirements, being able to do 2 different things. Put a break marker on this lantern to prevent all damage from a single attack. Well, that's not bad. And the break markers, I believe, are those red cubes. I could be wrong. But these are all the different lanterns. Wow, there's tons of them. Look at all these lanterns. Out of control. Wow. Okay, so there's a lot of lanterns, there's a lot of weapons, there's a lot of fun to have to be done in this game. Next, we have a huge deck of shield cards. These are going to be used, first off, they can be used to mitigate damage. On top of that, they also have an extra effect because you can play them as cards. Check this out. There's a whole bunch of them, and they all have different symbols up on the top that kind of represents the secondary way of being able to use this card. You get -1 lux requirement in order to do this type of action as you go forward. There's a lot of different actions in games, and this, you can play these just to help that. This shows you what phase you can do it in. The blue is for the scout phase, the red is for the shadow phase, and if they're both there, of course, you can use it for both. Then it's going to have an ability for each card. It does something, and each one of these does a little bit different things. Of course, these are the very basic cards you're going to get, so they're all going to be pretty similar, and each character starts with 13 cards. Also, it's going to show you the character who gets it, or the faction that is supplying it, and also I believe it's showing you the citadel level that you're going to have about in order to use it, or the light shield level, I should say. So this is a very basic card, but I'm sure as you go down and somebody's, oh, check this one. This one's really cool. Each character has a special card in it, and this only has this effect. It doesn't have the extra effect you can do up here, but it is going to be more powerful, and it's going to be more powerful based on the size of your Citadel. So as the Citadel grows in power, this card will become more powerful. And each of these cards, for example, the first 13 right here are all for the Guardian card. So it should be 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And the next card is going to be for the Scout. The Scout gets a whole bunch of cards. These ones are going to help with movement. So notice the Guardian didn't get that. He's not about movement. He's more about being able to plan and put down tiles. So he has a lot of cards that help him with that. Where then we have ones to help attack, which would be for that railgun guy. And every character has their own set of cards, which is pretty cool. And then as you continue forward, we're going to be able to unlock cards for different factions. For here's a faction that we might be able to unlock if we decide to work with that faction and help strengthen that faction. And we'll have access to those type of cards to be able to put them in our deck. And then we have these bad cards. You don't want these. Incapacitated. These are bad cards. Corrosion, bad card. I mean, you don't want these. Corrupted. We don't even want to look at those. Those are bad. We also have numbered and letter-driven mission cards. I'm not going to look at any of these because I don't want to spoil any part of the campaign that you can play through. I do want you to be aware that you can actually play these as one-off scenarios if you wish to. You just have to set the mission up and kind of abide by where your strength level should be for that particular mission. The last set of cards we have are these smaller cards. They start out mainly, these are going to be all for more of the boss fights. They're going to be like how they react and what they're going to do to you. These are going to be used to up for the Herald, not the Herald, sorry, these are for the Herald. What these are for is these are the Shadowland primer cards. We'll see what those are like when we get to the actual game. Now again, don't want to look at too many of these. They might spoil some of the stuff going on in here. These are upgrades to one of the certain types of areas. And this is like this, not the Shadowlands, but there's a Twilight Land and things of that nature. These are going to be event cards that could happen to you in the game. We'll look at one of those real quick. What this event says. It says, in exiled nomad points the way. Gain 1 exiled faction token. Well, that's not bad. So you can find, I don't know what that does, but we'll see. It'll be kind of cool. These are threat cards that are going to be used for certain missions. They'll tell you which ones to pull when you do different missions. And the last one we have, these are our district cards. So when we are upgrading our Citadel, we'll be choosing different district cards and we'll be gaining the bonuses based on the district card we chose. For example, here's the Dawn Monument. Let's start with one of the lower ones, huh? Scavenger's Trading Post. Reveal additional printer item when you perform a deploy printer action. And those printer cards are these type of cards here, the ones that I believe they're going to be kind of more of the lower ones down here, I'm sure. Here's the base one, for example. You can get a, what is this? A Stork Accelerator attached to weapon and gain +1 damage. So you can learn that as you can develop your Citadel with these certain different district cards. And then of course the Citadel will grow based on the types of decisions you make. And as you can see, the base gets bigger and bigger and more awesome things are unlocked as you become more powerful on your Citadel. So that's all that's in the base box, and I love how I said all that's in. That's absolutely a monstrous amount of content, and with a good number of scenarios. I think I said, was it 13 or 16 scenarios? That's a fun time. Now let's take a look at some of the expansions that are going to be able to move the game past the base box. First, I want to show off what is inside what is called the Land of the Twilight miniature set, which is pretty sweet. No, not Night Twilight, sorry, Land of Night miniature set. It is all the miniatures that you're going to use in the game. First off, you have all those shadows. These are the like more minor characters you're going to be going against that are going to be in probably all the different scenarios. There's 3 of them. I remember these from when I did my playthrough. They actually turned out really cool. They look very similar to what I was using then, and I'm going to maybe try to paint these up. We'll see. I really want to get this to the table fast. I don't know how much I'll be able to get painted in this time I want to get it done. But look at these. These are going to be some of those super guys we're going to have to take on. These look really neat. Again, oh my gosh, look at this guy. This is the one I saw that had the whole city on his back. Look at this. He's got a whole city on his back, and he's going to be coming after us. That's going to be amazing. This guy looks like he wants to eat our city quite badly. Oh, it's got a, if you can, I don't know if you can see inside there, but it's actually got like an old little alien guy just inside there. Maybe it's already devoured one whole group of people, and now it's going after another one. Then it has, I believe, one of the parts of the Citadel in here. And then underneath here is the whole Citadel itself and some more. Oh, and these are, I believe, going to be the robot characters that you can use in your game, except that guy's not. That guy looks like a bad guy. But here is the base of the Citadel that comes in 2 parts. You're going to put it together, and then I believe we're going to maybe put something like this. We'll have to look in. Oh, that guy's not going to fit there. But I bet these fit in. But these fit in really well. Let's see if this works. Okay, we're going to try to make this thing because this is going to be super sweet. Let's see if I can get it to work. We'll put it like this, and then I'm probably doing something wrong, but that's okay. We're going to put this like that. Oh, I bet I know. I bet this thing sits in like this. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. Let's see how it goes. You can build it up. Yeah, look at that. You can get to a 2nd level of the city, which would be pretty sweet. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Nope, I don't think so. I think it goes like this. This video just got super long because I'm trying to build a building. I bet one of these has to actually fit in here. Oh, there we go. This fits in like that. There we go. Build it around in a circle like this. And your Citadel gets bigger. Your Citadel keeps on growing. Look at this thing. Oh, this is super cool. This is one of the things I was really excited about for this game, is the fact that you can build like this big giant Citadel. And I think this thing's going to fit right in there. Hope it didn't fit in perfectly. Let's put it in the right way, Barrett. That'd be awesome. There we go. Come on, get in there. There we go. Then I bet these rest on top of it. Nope, probably not. Oh, I bet this thing fits on here. There's another piece right here. Nope, this is the top of the Citadel. Well, I apparently am not smart enough to figure this out, but I think you get the idea of how this all works. It's going to go like that, and maybe this thing fits on top like that, some way. But in the end, once we get it all figured out and actually look at the box and how to do it, it does look really cool on the board. It's going to sit out there, and you're going to have to defend it against all these little shadow guys that are coming in here. This is going to be super, super fun. So that's the miniatures box. We're going to move on to some of the expansions that actually bring about more story content. The next expansion we're going to look at is the Luminari Monks expansion. This would be the one you'd play right after the main campaign. There is a set sequence in which you're supposed to play as according to the way the story would be developed. That comes with 1 punch board that has a new monster, some blips for that monster. Then it does look like it comes with potentially a new miniature. I don't know if that's going to be a hero or an evil person. We'll see how it goes. And a new location. Then it has the miniatures that go with it. And on top of that, it'll have some cards. It's going to be a person. I believe it's going to be something we can play with, because it does have a hero in here. Let's take a look. Here is the Scout. It is called the Merciful, which is pretty sweet, and it looks like it's going to be a medic character of some kind. And it has these different events that are also part of this expansion. These, I believe, are going to be are used for the Citadel. I think they're like Citadel events or something, and I think this is all going to kind of take place inside the Citadel. I don't know for sure. And of course, you have to have the base game in order to use this expansion, because the missions for that are found inside that core mission book. Here's our shield cards for our character, which are all here. Let's see if we can take a look at these. It looks, and I've never mentioned this, but I do like the fact that they actually put some cool looking art in these things. I like the art style for this, but it does look like it has its own set of unique items. And of course, it comes with its own weapon and its own light source. And some of these, of course, will be able to be upgraded. This would be pretty cool. Now, I don't want to go digging too far into there, because we are going to find the missions that go with this as well. And the Merciful has its own core mission, which, remember, I've talked about how if you can unlock their mission goals, then they're going to be able to gain some extra cards that are probably found inside this little deck here. And then these are the missions that are going to go along with this particular expansion. So that is the Luminaries Monk expansion, and we'll move on to the next one. The next one is the Engineer's Castle expansion. Again, it comes with, it looks like a major boss type character we'll have to deal with. And then it has the tokens that go along with this expansion. And again, I think we have a new miniature we'll be able to play with. And these are going to be the cards that are going to make the boss, or going to activate and use the boss. The mission cards are in here along with the items and the shield deck for our character. Here is the character we'd be able to take out on these missions. It looks like it's got a little hound that goes along with it. It's right here. It's called the Wrench. I apologize for any glare. I'm trying to hold that against it, but I don't know if it's really worth opening these, because I think you get the idea after seeing the core box and the last expansion what you're kind of getting from these. Now, of course, there are some new miniature enemies, or these potentially could be our character putting these out on the ground that we'll be able to fire at anything that kind of comes by it. Maybe it has that type of technique. We'll have to see at some point. That'd be kind of cool to see. That is the Engineer's Castle. And now we'll move into the next expansion called the Exiled. And very similar to the other ones, we have a miniature here. This looks like just a normal shadow that has its blips. And it has its own new hero that we can use. Here's the miniatures that we're going to be fighting against. Those guys are kind of cool. And then here's our new guy. Look at this guy. He's got like this club type thing. That looks kind of cool. We'll see how that all transpires at some point. And again, the same type of cards you're going to get for the other ones. We've got the card for our character, and we have the items and things and the upgrades that he's going to be able to gain as we go through it. That's called I guess that kind of makes sense. If it's called the Exiled, that makes sense that this guy's kind of got a whole bunch of different gambits going on here, because it's probably been lost in the darkness and is finally able to find himself with enough light to get back to where we are. That'd be kind of cool. All right, that's the Exalted. Or I should say Exiled, not Exalted. And the last one is the biggest of the expansions, but it's the smallest amount of content. It's called a mini campaign, and it all centers around this creature right here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. And the miniatures in there, and then I'm sure all the different things that have to do with the character are in here. And on top of that, the mission itself is in here. It's only one mission, but I think it's the last mission it's supposed to be, I think, the last one you play. So it'll be kind of cool to see how once you're all done with all the missions, how it finally ends when you have to take on this giant thing. Let's take a look at him, huh? Why not take a look at him? Look at this guy. He's got, it looks like almost like a devouring, it's like a dead, like alligator type thing with these mist and rifts coming around it. Wow, it looks pretty neat. These miniatures are really cool looking. I'm really excited for that. I like the design style of it, where it's all wispy and like supposed to be kind of dark and shadowy, because of course they are from the shadow. That's pretty cool. So there you have it. That is the unboxing of S.H.E.O.L. I've had a really good time doing the Kickstarter preview, so I'm excited to actually get the full copy and give it a shot. Again, I'd like to thank Colin at the One Stop Co-op Shop for giving me the opportunity to do this unboxing, and I might not give it back to him and just hold on to it, and he'll have to break down the door to get it back, because I think I might try to do the playthrough of it, because it looks really super fun. I really like the light mechanic of being able to move out onto the board. I'm excited to see how the objectives work. I like the fact that there's all these different types of story components that go along with it. It's not just like a normal tower defense type game that has that element in it because you don't want your citadel to die, but there's so much rich story that's going to be going on along with it that I just think it's going to be a phenomenal game. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more content comes. And of course, S.H.E.O.L will probably be showing up here very soon. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please take a look at my Patreon. It's in the description of this video. The Patreon supporters are located right here on the screen. Thank you all for your support. As our Patreon continues to grow, we'll be able to expand this and be able to do some more fun things. Right now, you're able to help decide what we paint during our live painting episodes that we do every week. You can also decide what is going to be played on the channel and also who is going to be part of our games that we play. So for example, I might let my Patreons decide what characters we control as we play through S.H.E.O.L. We'll have to see. I think 2 of them are experts and 4 are kind of more normal characters. I might just play the 4 normal ones because I don't want to make myself super bad at the game. I want to show everybody exactly how it's played, and I want to have a lot of fun doing it. But of course, as time grows, the experienced characters may be more fun and more exciting to try. Again, thank you so much for watching. And if you're excited to see S.H.E.O.L or anything else, then I need you to meet me at the table.